This is Empty the Bench with Tom Albano.
With innocent until proven guilty, if they suspend him for the rest of the season and it comes out, the charges get dropped, then I don't think Rob Manfred wants to get sued by Trevor Bauer.
Nick Morganson.
Do not watch the Olympics. I'd rather watch paint dry than watch the Olympics at this point.
And Nick Federa.
You're endangering your own health and you're endangering the health of your teammates who are immunocompromised or can't get the vaccine because your morals and your convictions mean more to you than the health of others.
Empty the Bench starts now.
And I'd like to let you all know to come on and slam and welcome to the jam.
Gentlemen, I can't tell you how much I hate copyright because I would have loved if it wasn't for copyright, I would have just blasted the song.
Quad City DJs.
You're welcome, America.
Oh, God.
I'm Talbano, Nick Federa, Nick Morganson. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode number 96 of Empty the Bench. We have had quite the crazy week of sports headlines. We had a crazy trade deadline, a crazy draft. The week and the topics that we have for this week, guys, it kind of wrote themselves.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they did. We didn't have to do a lot of tweaking, and there's still a lot to break down, so let's get right into it.
Oh, man. I mean, the way this week has gone, I thought we were going to have to change things a million times, and then we have the best MLB trade deadline in quite a few years and more big names than a lottery ticket number calling.
Yeah, so we'll talk about the NBA draft and more specifically the big news that came out of the NBA draft that wasn't connected to the NBA draft. Oh, I mean, kind of. But we'll talk about Aaron Rodgers, and after all the weeks that we had about this drama, this anticlimactic ending, and we'll touch base on Simone Biles before we leave here. But we have to start with, like you guys said, perhaps the best MLB trade deadline we have seen in quite a number of years. Maybe even I'd even say maybe the start of the last decade of the 2010s.
By a wide margin. If not for the amount of activity, the caliber of names that were getting moved. It's been like this. Usually trade deadlines, at least within the last decade, because you've seen a lot of prospect hoarding in terms of a lot of teams that did compete. You've seen, the Dodgers, the Astros, the Yankees, especially, have stood pat the past couple of seasons, to my chagrin. Although I'm not bitter about that, can you tell? And yeah,
no, but I was just saying. I mentioned the last decade because now yesterday was the first time in MLB history that it was a July 30th trade deadline.
Well, that's what threw everything off. That's what was so crazy. Yeah. And by the way, the Yankee bias is going to show in this episode.
Okay,
absolutely.
But I'm just saying, so it used to be before pandemic baseball set in. It used to be July 31st was one trade deadline, and then you had the waiver deadline the next month. No more. It's just one solid trade deadline, July 30th now. And I mentioned the last decade because actually since today's July 31st, in Facebook memories, of all the past deadline moves, and I'm looking, and 11 years ago, 2010, I posted a Facebook status in which I was very happy about Austin Kearns and Lance Berkman becoming Yankees.
Wow.
Oh, my God. I remember that day.
What a blast from the past. And by the way, we really stayed on top of all these trades. If you followed us on social media at ETB Sports, we really kept you on the cutting room edge when every trade dropped. And
the situation was very fluid.
And just some of the deals. And by the way, like Tom said, the trade deadline now starts like a week before the trade deadline.
Yeah, we had so many deals before the deadline day even came. So, yes, I know we are Yankees fans and we will have bias and talk about the Yankees things, but I think we need to break down the big move that actually took place. It was reported the day before and was finalized on the day of the trade deadline. I think, gentlemen, that's where we need to start in terms of breaking down deals. Max Scherzer, Trea Turner, going from the Nationals to the Dodgers. Now, the Nationals and the Cubs basically blowing up their 2010s championship squads. And the biggest news of that is Scherzer and Turner heading heading out west, heading to LA, and basically giving the Dodgers a couple more weapons as they look to repeat as World Series champions.
All right. Can we say one thing, which is we know that this is based off of the Trevor Bauer administrative leave,
absolutely,
which was extended to September 6th, I think now. And first of all, the rumors, were that he was going to the Padres, that this deal was going to happen with the Padres, and then that fell apart, and the Dodgers come swooping in like they do on everything else. And
then the Dodgers the next day, the deal wasn't finalized, and the reports were the Padres were still waiting, perhaps swoop in at the last second if that deal fell through.
By the way, we all know that the Dodgers are desperate. Can we just say that now? Because their number one is basically death for the rest of the season?
Well, here's the thing that I didn't realize when they were making the trade. I didn't realize what I was like, wow, that's going to make them a powerhouse. It still does, but I did not realize that their rotation was kind of in shambles when they made that trade because Clayton Kershaw, I think, is hurt. So is what's his name? May?
Dylan May is on the 60-day. Kershaw is on the 10-day right now.
Well, he had surgery, didn't he?
Dylan May, yeah. I think at the beginning of the year.
I mean, and to be quite honest...
Dustin May, pardon me.
Right, Dustin May. And to be quite honest...
Dustin May had Tommy John. He's not even going to be around for the
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, he's done for the year. But what I was going to say is, to be quite honest, and I might get tomatoes thrown at me by Dodger fans, this still doesn't make them number one in the division.
Oh, it absolutely does. If not for Scherzer, then for Trea Turner. Oh, my goodness.
Well,
Trea Turner? Are you kidding me?
First of all, they have a logjam. First of all, they have a logjam now with Corey Seager. So,
well, I think the feeling is, and the feeling has been according to MLB insiders, that Corey Seager after this year is probably going to be leaving in free agency.
I don't think they're number one. I think the Giants are probably one of the better teams in baseball. Who would have thought we'd say the San Francisco Giants are playing?
We talked about it during the offseason that it was either going to be the Dodgers or the Padres, and then the Giants have just made this a 3-team race.
They're running away.
They absolutely had. They're running away. Yeah, you just said they're running away with the division, right?
They're 2 games ahead of. They're 2 games ahead of the Dodgers, I think, and then the Dodgers are 2 games ahead of the Padres for second place.
But pardon my French, but we thought they were going to be a shithole team this year, and all of a sudden they come out of the blue and they're winning.
I don't know how that is. I don't know why it is. But
Buster Posey having the comeback season of a freaking lifetime.
And also, since we're talking about the Giants, we might as well just say it anyway. The buzzer-beating deal for Kris Bryant right at the deadline.
Yeah, so Kris Bryant, guys, I mean, we heard nothing about the Giants potentially making a move. As the day was going on, it was just weird, bizarre silence. We had heard for the Cubs, about all the emotional goodbyes that were going to be going on. But Kris Bryant had it been dealt all day. And then all of a sudden, like you said, Nick, at the buzzer beater, I'd say within the last 10 minutes, even the last 5 minutes, the report comes out. Kris Bryant has been dealt to the Giants.
This was crazy. And they needed to do it because they can't trust Evan Longoria to be healthy all the way through the playoffs if they're going to win.
The funny thing is, he makes that offense infinitely more diverse than it already was, and they're going to be dangerous.
And Tom, by the way, you were talking about multiple positions. Kris Bryant fits that role too.
Definitely,
he absolutely does too. Yeah,
outfield, third base.
Mm-hmm. So you're talking,
yeah.
Really, I know it's a re-aggravation of the shoulder injury, but I really, really, really hope it does not mean an extended absence. We've already lost Ronald Acuna Jr. till like May or June. We cannot lose Tatis Jr.
I'm going to say it right now. With Ronald Acuna gone and Tatis being injured, Rob Manfred better be shitting his pants right now. If he thought he was having a problem marketing the sport now, with your 2 young stars out, what the heck are you going to do to market?
You better pray to God above nothing happens to Shohei Ohtani, and if nothing happens to Shohei Ohtani, that the Angels are able to make a surge and make it to the postseason. Because right now it ain't looking good, Jack.
All right.
Hang on. Let me check the leaderboard. Yeah, it don't look like that's happening.
All right, let's quickly go through the rest of what
All
went
right.
down.
So now let's talk about the two big Yankee moves. Of course, first of all, Joey Gallo dealt from the Rangers to the Yankees.
So this one I like because even though he's a 3 true outcome player, strikeout, home run, walk, he gives you a lot more lefty pop off the bench, and
Well, he's not off the bench.
He like I said, he gives you a lot more lefty pop, and he's got a cannon of an arm out in left field, and he's going to be, I think, your left fielder for the rest of the way. Plus, potentially even for 2022, because they have him till then.
Okay, so let me give you my status on Joey Gallo. So my feeling is this was a move that the Yankees made 2 months too late. This is a move that they should have made like around the May-June period when, they were kind of in free fall. I mean, they're still kind of in a really shaky place, but I do like what Gallo can provide, even though he is a 3 outcomes guy, like you said, Nick. And this is something that I know the Yankees don't give a shit about defense, but at the same rate, I think if Joey Gallo, I know he's going to be primarily left field, but I think they should move him around as much as they can and use him to his potential, because Joey Gallo can play left, he can play right. I think he can do center. I'm sure if they tried, they could succeed in that. Plus, he plays the corner infield, so you got DJ with his flexibility back. You can swap the two of them between third and first. Gio or Urshela can play third. And if Torres has more yips at shortstop, put Gio at short, because Gio was doing very well at short. Torres has shown that he can succeed at second base, and that's better fit for him.
I know people are going to get mad, and these two guys got mad at me when I had my opinion the other day about this trade. But I think, excuse me, as I'm at 85% trying to find my voice,
don't say it. Don't say it.
I think they got fleeced a little bit.
How can you say that?
How can you say that?
The Rangers, I think, are the ones who got fleeced. How do you give up your best player on the team and the best prospect you can get is like number 14 in another team's system? That's crap. And the Rangers have a very crap farm system to begin with.
They do. They very much do. So I think I understand what you're saying. The point that you're trying to make is that Gallo is not. You don't think that Gallo is that impact player?
Can I answer that?
Yes,
Which basically, I said this to the guys over the last couple of days, that it's kind of canceling out Stanton, because Stanton is lost. Can we all admit Stanton is lost? And basically,
he does that though. He's streaky. That's who he is.
No, Stanton is lost. Like he's missing the ball by 3 feet up at the plate.
And Gary was like that too, and look what happened.
No, you're missing my point. My point is that Gallo is basically canceling out Stanton. You didn't need Gallo. You needed a starting pitcher. That's what you needed.
Well, let's get into that. So Gallo, so obviously that thing's about Gallo. Now the thing about Stanton is, if they are now they're playing in Miami right now in his old home, and he's starting to play left field. I think if they can stick with this plan and get him stuck, of the DH slot, so we can have half days off again for the likes of Judge and LeMahieu and Sanchez, because when Sanchez is hot, it's kind of hard. But if they want to give him, Higashioka time at the bat, then Sanchez could use the DH.
So we're basically rotating the DH position again, which is what we were trying to avoid.
Right. I mean, this is American League Baseball. We don't need to be playing National League Baseball as an American League team.
I just don't understand the move. And I'm not saying he's a bad player. He's a really good player. He's had 240 home run seasons already.
But then you can't say the word fleece. Now, where you're talking about when I say 2 months too late, let me bring up the other name that came in, Anthony Rizzo. So now this is, I think Nick Federa, you've had this criticism before. You've said it about Cashman, is that he went with an all-righty, basically an all-righties except for one lineup to start the season. And that was a big mistake. When you think about that, and I think A-Rod has mentioned this before, that 2009 World Series team, what did you see? You saw mixes of righties and lefties. It takes advantage now of this newer rule, the 3 batter minimum. So you can't you're not going to see other opposing managers take advantage of this and go, oh, 3 righties. Okay, I'm going to go bring in my lefty now. Like.
Well, I think that was more for time purposes than anything.
Yeah, it was. And to be honest with you, I mean, breaking gut reaction. I mean, taking out last night's Titanic home run that he hit in Miami. I think they did this, A, to keep the Red Sox away from him, and B, to add some more diversity to the lineup because you don't know what you're going to get out of Voit.
But like I said,
Voit, he's been limited to 29 games this season because of knee issues, and you can't really. He's not him.
I'm kind of shocked with the number of teams that reportedly came calling for Voit that the Yankees chose to hold.
Well, that's what I don't understand. So there's 2 guys here that shockingly didn't move: Voit for the Yankees and Trevor Story for the Rockies. Which Trevor Story basically has a train ticket out of Colorado. I don't understand.
Congratulations, Rockies, because now guess what you're going to have to do? You're going to have to give him a qualifying offer. You're going to have to stick with compensatory picks. You could have gotten a nice package for Trevor Story.
And the one thing is, you can pretty much safely assume that he's not going to take the qualifying offer.
Oh no, he's gone. Not. He's gone. Javi Baez, who went to the Mets. I mean, that's a little bit of a coin flip because if the Mets, right now it looks like they're in control of the division. If Mr. Billionaire, their new owner, Mr. Steve, shows him the money, I could see him staying potentially. You
know what the sad part is? The Yankees are probably saying, we thank our lucky stars we didn't have to give a deal for Trevor Story. We could sign him in the offseason.
They definitely could try.
Hey, that's going to make a certain DJ LeMahieu, his former teammate, very happy. But now, going back to the Gallo thing, what concerns me about Gallo is kind of, we mentioned logjam before with the Dodgers. Even the Yankees, kind of have a little logjam because you're trying to get Stanton in the field again. Miguel Andujar, we've transitioned him into an outfielder. Clint Frazier, I know he's hurt right now, but what's going to happen with Andujar and Frazier?
Someone's going to get traded.
I know, but I'm saying, how many times did we say over the last few years, Nick, especially us, Nick Federa, that they should have traded they should have traded Frazier when all the money was coming after them, when they had every opportunity to, and now they've kind of screwed themselves.
They could have traded this for an ace pitcher. They didn't do it.
And I'm not even saying in 2021. They could have done that in 2018, 2019 instead of setting.
Do I have to go back to the Roy Halladay's, the Cliff Lees?
Well, I was gonna mention instead of what they did in settling on J.A. App and James Paxton.
It's the sins of trade deadlines past, I think.
Yeah, the sins of trade deadlines past are coming up to catch Brian Cashman.
I was gonna say what a happenstance, but I'll just leave that one right there.
You're hurting me. Stop with the puns. You're hurting me.
But what's gonna happen now? I think it also this is just another blow in terms of the Brett Gardner thing. Like, I'm sorry, Brett Gardner should not be playing Yankee
baseball.
Brett
Gardner should have been gone 2 or 3 years ago.
And I hate to say it, but he hasn't really looked himself.
I think what they need to do is they need to sit Gardy down after this offseason and say it's time.
Sayonara. See ya.
If they love each other that much, I think they need to have a conversation about it's time to retire from baseball.
I think the Yankees felt bad because he was like one of the only guys left on the 2009 team, and basically said, "All right, we'll pay you for an extra few years to sit on the bench."
But Nick, that's the point. This is not the 2009 team anymore. Right now, I don't know what's going on with the Yankees. Right now, it seems like they're having an identity crisis in terms of who they are.
That's my point. The pitching is messed up. They went after a guy named Andrew Haney, and who the hell is this guy from the Angels? I mean, Jesus.
There was once upon a time he was good. Once upon a time. But I think what this is, and I told you guys right before we started that I think what they're doing is once again they are putting all their eggs in a basket of a man known as Luis Severino. And hoping that he can return to 2017 form. And I'm kind of scared with all the injuries he's had over these last years.
I mean, we're all hoping that he can recapture his form, but if he can get at least a third of that back, he can definitely be helpful. Of course, you make the postseason. You have to make the postseason first.
Right. By the way, speaking of construction projects, should we talk about the Washington Nationals?
Oh, and how they've had a massive COVID outbreak out in addition to the fact that they've
By the
blown
way,
it up.
biggest outbreak of the season. 12 reported positives have been out there. And just to make it worse, they were the first team to have a major outbreak when the season started.
Good.
What a mess.
God.
What a mess that the Nationals are right now.
And by the way,
it's scary to think that this team just a couple of years ago won the World Series.
And who did it start with? Mr. Trea Turner.
Exactly.
By the way, we had a Justin Turner moment again, fellas, where he was
in the batting cage. Wasn't he warming up?
No, he was in the game. He took it back.
Inning one.
Oh, God. You've got to be kidding me. I didn't know that.
I got to do it.
Oh, no. I'm sure that's playing in the heads of Nationals fans and Cubs fans everywhere.
I mean,
sorry, guys.
Oh, at least you still have Juan Soto for the time being.
Have they canceled any games?
No.
How?
I think they're using all replacement players.
Yeah, but there's 12 positives in the locker room.
When you don't have any positive players if you trade all the positive players away, right? Now all of a sudden, ipso facto, we don't have any more positives.
Curb your deadline. But still, that was fun. That was a fun deadline.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, let's move on. NBA draft, Mr. NBA, what can you tell us about the NBA draft? I mean, we kind of all knew Cade Cunningham was going number one, but congratulations, Cade. Your basketball career is already dead because it's in Detroit.
Yeah, this is bad. I mean, the NBA is the only league where all the horrible teams that don't know how to run themselves, except the Toronto Raptors, which somehow ended up in the top 3 picks. But I'm sorry, Cade. This is bad. I mean, he got his Nike deal. We could say that much.
This was kind of a weird draft because I feel like there was a lot more buzz around what didn't happen and the stuff outside the draft than what actually did happen.
The big story of the NBA draft is not in the NBA draft itself. A couple of picks were swapped, but it involves about. Well, shall we just go right into it, guys? Let's go right into it.
Well,
Russell Westbrook is now a Laker.
Okay, so I think LeBron James is trying to Frankenstein his own big three.
Nick, are you okay?
I think we might have broke him.
Oh, you know what? When I wasn't surprised by this. We heard this a few years ago when Russell Westbrook was unhappy in OKC. Oh, well, let's ship him off to the Lakers. This was before LeBron, I think, was even there.
Yeah.
So it's a basketball version of Siberia.
Yeah.
Using shipping him off to the Lakers as an insult.
And by the way, is this LeBron trying to create a big 3 2.0 like Tom had said?
I just said that.
No,
guys,
but
guys,
dumb thing? What was that dumb thing you said?
Okay, guys. And I'm gonna say the lyrics that we made up on earlier this week. And you may find yourself saying, and you may tell yourself, and you may tell yourself, this is not my beautiful super team. And you may tell yourself, this is not Wade and Bosch.
And you may ask yourself, why am I playing basketball in another part of the league?
By the way, if you want to see a good meme that Tom made, it's up on our account at ETB Sports. As well.
I know what you were talking about, Nick. I think you were talking about the chorus, basically, which I basically repeated in the tweet description, which is same as it ever was. Same as it ever was.
And by the way, this big 3 of LeBron, AD, and Russell Westbrook. This is like injury row going on here.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd call him a retread, but I don't know what to call it.
This is horrible. So now you're going to have an issue with Russell Westbrook and LeBron James taking 30 shots a game. That means no one else is going to get any shots.
So I'm gonna, if you don't mind me making a wrestling reference, fellas, and it's gonna be a WCW reference, so you might know it. This is like basically NWO 2000 again, in which they tried to recapture the old New World Order, and instead it's just like, why are we doing this again?
It's Vince McMahon trying to do the Conor McGregor while they're trying to copy each other walking down the aisle.
No, don't do that. You're giving him ideas.
You're welcome, America.
I just, I mean, the Lakers. We always talk about LeBron as being big playoff LeBron, but I mean, this season didn't exactly work out for them. And now they're getting and now they're getting kind of desperate. They're trying to recreate a big three.
No,
Kyle Kuzma.
Good.
Okay, Kyle Kuzma. I mean, guys, do you remember when Kyle Kuzma was basically the face of this team before LeBron came here?
What I said.
When they were in Siberia, and then LeBron came, traded everyone away except Kuzma, and it was like they were grooming Kuzma. He was going to be the next guy.
He was going to be the Robin to LeBron James's bat.
And all of a sudden...
That was the most confusing trade to me, that they trade away Kuzma, they trade away Contavious Caldwell-Pope, they trade away a bunch of other guys, and I'm like, wait a minute, they trade away Montrezl Harrell, they trade away a bunch of other things, and I'm like, what is going on? Did LeBron become the GM again? Like, is he like trading everybody?
I mean, he has always been the GM.
Yeah, he's always been the GM. How is this any different from anything else he's done? And I like LeBron James. I've defended him against you besmirching him.
I was going to say,
but I can't make heads or tails of this.
But I was going to say, instead of big playoff LeBron, it should be big injury LeBron. That's what happened this past NBA playoffs.
Oh, God.
And Nick, let me end this by saying something that you mentioned during our pre-show meeting. Maybe if we can see the Lakers versus the Knicks. I mean, versus the
Nets.
Yeah, because it'd be KD and Westbrook. It's gonna be all and James Harden. It's gonna be all the old KC folks.
Yeah, it's gonna be basically a Thunder reunion.
And you know what? The Lakers are probably gonna go pick up Serge Ibaka during the season, so we'll just make it a full OKC reunion.
And mind you, all the Supersonics fans are going, that should have been us!
Hey, the NHL got the Kraken back in Seattle. Maybe we'll end up with an NBA team in Seattle again.
Maybe we can get to 32 NBA teams. I don't know if we'll ever get to 32 MLB teams because right now there's a lot of focus on trying to get Oakland and Tampa new stadiums.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
But that's a completely different can of worms, right?
Okay, guys. Story number 3. So, guys, for weeks, we have said Aaron Rodgers versus the Packers. We have talked about this since the NFL draft. We have talked
Speaking
about
of can of worms.
We've talked about this even before this NFL draft. We had the Jordan Love controversy in the 2020 draft. We have said time and time again, and we said that during this offseason, it looked like finally once and for all, Aaron Rodgers would not be the starting quarterback of Green Bay Packers in 2021. After all of that,
the thrilling conclusion to the Aaron Rodgers saga, and it goes about as well as the theatrical release of Justice League. And it's just after all the speculation, all the breathless speculation that everybody's done, including we three morons, he just decides to go back, hat in hand, tail between legs, and saunter all the way back to Green Bay. It's like, okay, all right, I'll go.
Wait, it goes as well as everyone getting the Final Jeopardy answer wrong.
Oh,
guys,
you know what? That would have been a good deal for him, and I wasn't the only one who thought so.
Guys, same as it ever was. Same as it ever was.
Oh.
Same as it ever was. Same as it ever was.
But this is. Let me add as an addendum. This is not over. This is just kicking the can down the road. Because now that he's back.
Well,
it's only a 1-year deal.
Well, it's a 1-year deal based off of a 3-year nonsense that he signed on his massive deal. But
also, no, I was going to mention where Nick had said, "Oh yeah," because not even 24 hours later, he was throwing some shade at them in a press conference, even though he was saying, "I'm glad to be back."
No, my favorite part is he's just up there saying, It's okay. It's great to be back in Green Bay, but I don't like what's going on here, and I wish they would bring me to the table. I mean,
this is basically, him being dragged to a wedding he didn't want to go to.
Can we just play the world's saddest violin for Aaron Rodgers? Because you know what, the guy has made $150 million plus. I mean, can we stop? Like,
can I stretch that to the Green Bay Packers, the small violin? Because you had every opportunity the last 5 seasons to get him help and get him to another Super Bowl, and you failed time and time
and time.
I need to say one thing, which is he needs to stop being a baby. Every team is looking to draft their next quarterback replacement.
Then again, I don't think that it was really about the money with Aaron Rodgers. I think it was he wanted to be the LeBron, if we can use that metaphor, because he wanted to have absolute total control over what the roster was.
I hate to make this cliche, but it's all about the love for Aaron Rodgers.
I give you a 4 out of 10 on that pun.
Oh, come on. It's true.
But I understand your point.
Go ahead.
I said, but I understand your point because, if the Packers, let's say they're not crying about money, and in 2020, they make the trade for Will Fuller, or they make some other deals earlier in the season, potentially, I know fallacy of predetermined outcome, but potentially, they could have done something more. The fact of the matter is they didn't even try. And 3 or 4 of the last 5 NFC Championship games have seen the Packers losing.
They're the Houston Rockets. Basically, they would make it to the final round.
Make it to the round, and then they just couldn't get over the hump.
Well,
and a lot of that, Aaron Rodgers wanted Mike McCarthy gone.
Wait, and I would say that James Harden and Aaron Rodgers had similar situations where James Harden is pissed off. He's not getting any help. Russell Westbrook was a bust. That was the only help they provided, but same thing.
He's not going to stay. I still get this feeling this is going to be the last.
Oh no, he's done.
For him. This is it. Next season, next season, Jordan Love is going to be quarterbacking this team. Hell, if this team somehow falls apart and ends up, and it's like there's 6-7 as we're entering the final month of the season, I wouldn't be surprised if Jordan Love ends up starting taking snaps at that point.
He already has. Let's not.
At that point, does Aaron Rodgers go on a killing spree, or does he just bottle it all up and then just destroy a refrigerator?
He's not going on a killing spree. The man has made $150 million plus from the organization. If he starts bitching and moaning, I'm going to call him out for it.
All right, one last thing we got to touch on here, guys. Hate that this is how we have to end, but so Simone Biles ends up withdrawing from Olympic competition to basically a mental health issue. You guys know how to describe this a little better than I do.
Yeah, this.
So this was she had decided to withdraw from the Olympic competition and from the team gymnastics and from the individual events, the ones that are being played so far. And basically her reasoning was, I'm not having a lot of fun doing this. I'm under a lot of pressure, and I don't feel like I can give them my 100%. I'm paraphrasing, of course, but from the firestorm that erupted from what she said, you would have thought she confessed to killing puppies and a couple of nuns while she was at it. This is really resulting in a lot of armchair quarterbacking on the part of punditry in this country.
I swear, I was ready to blow the roof off my house with the amount of opinions that came out. You're going to hear one of them in a minute. Actually, you're going to hear 2 of them because we have 2 of them. But this went off in such a direction. People need to take a chill pill. And if you could go out there and perform these gymnastic stunts, which, by the way, they had to score her jumps and tricks on the male scale, because they were so difficult for what she was doing. And you know what? For people who don't understand what the twisties are, okay, which is like a version of the yips in golf, shut the fuck up if you don't understand how this goes.
Now, if you don't know what the twisties are, it's like you said, basically the yips. One thing goes wrong, she could hurt herself. She could very grievously injure herself or possibly even get killed, and you don't want that. So I don't blame her. I'm disappointed that she withdrew, but I understand it completely. Mental health is absolutely something that's good mental health care is absolutely something that's in short supply, and there's so much, stigma around, getting mental health in terms of with athletes, especially Olympic athletes. I mean, and think about what she was under. You had to go through a pandemic, which you had to train an extra year to do this. Everything that she went through with Larry Nassar, and basically having to be the golden child that was going to bring glory to U.S. gymnastics, being the person, I would have cracked up. I really don't blame her for saying, you know what, I can't do this 100%, and they don't deserve me at my, they need better than me at my worst.
I'm about to go on a firing spree because the amount of these opinions that came out, these people who did it, and I'm even going to call it a former colleague because you would think they would know better, especially because of their situation, all about mental health and situation. But let's go to Charlie Kirk, our favorite commentator who can't control his own mouth and is a Trump wannabe, in my opinion. And let's listen to the Charlie Kirk opinion first.
Biles says, this Olympic Games, I wanted to be for myself when I came in, and I felt like I was still doing it for other people, as she cried after the team event on Tuesday. So that just, it hurts my heart because doing what I love has been kind of taken away from me to please other people. Yeah, that's the point, Simone Biles. You're representing your nation, you're selfish sociopath. You kidding me? Today it's like, you know what? I'm not going to do something stupid and get hurt. It's just not worth it, especially when you have 3 amazing athletes that can step up to the plate and do it. So you know who has the gold medal? Russia. I have to go look at these 4'11" Russian Olympians chewing on their gold medals, smirking at the Americans. I'm not okay with that. But honestly, that's where we're headed. We are raising a generation of weak people like Simone Biles. Again, if you want to be, if she got all these mental health problems, don't show up. She's an incredible athlete. Of course she's an incredible athlete. I just said she's probably the greatest gymnast of all time. She's also very selfish. She's immature, and she is a shame to the country. She's totally a sociopath. Of course she's a sociopath. Andrew said she's not a sociopath. What kind of person skips the gold medal match? Who does that? It's a shame to the nation. You just gave a gift to the Russians. Don't show up. If you're not ready for the big time, we got thousands of young female gymnasts that would love to take the place.
I mean, good God. What the hell is wrong with you, Charlie Kirk?
It's really easy for fart-faced loudmouth with a microphone to say that because first of all, he keeps using the word sociopath. That's not what sociopath means.
By the way, it's ironic that a sociopath is calling someone else a sociopath.
Now,
that actually is irony.
Now, I'll admit that I'm disappointed that Simone Biles didn't partake, and I'm disappointed she didn't try, and I'm disappointed that the U.S. lost the gold medal. I admit some disappointment, but ultimately it's her decision. And ultimately, I'm not somebody who does gymnastics, so I can't explain, what she does and the risk and everything. But to call her a sociopath?
Who is he to decide what her decision is going to be, whether it's on a mental health basis or a physical basis? Maybe if she understood what the twisties is and that it could actually hurt her or destroy her career.
Who is he to call somebody a sociopath is my question.
That's what I was saying. That's the irony. That it's a sociopath.
Because he basically thinks that his opinion is the only one that matters. So
and by the way, I want to go to Doug Gottlieb, who does a show on Fox Sports Radio, who started to talk about, what was the term I used, Nick, when we were talking about before the episode?
He was actually, in terms of what he was?
Well, no, comparing a Simone Biles to LeBron James. I was using a term.
It's kind of a fallacy, isn't it? It's
right.
A double standard.
That's it.
Double standard, yeah.
He was listen to this first. If I can get my audio up. There we go.
But the idea is this. If we're okay with Simone Biles saying, hey, couldn't go tonight, mental health, we can be okay if LeBron says the same thing? She's the greatest gymnast going. He's the greatest basketball player going. Why do we have sympathy for Simone Biles, but we wouldn't have sympathy or empathy for LeBron James. It's called double standard, right? And you get people saying like, man, this Simone Biles and Naomi Osaka, they take so much abuse on social media. No, they don't. No, they don't. No one of repute, at least, criticizes Simone Biles ever. What's there to criticize? She's the best. And to this point, my recollection is only ever winning. Nobody goes on Twitter and goes on some rampage about Simone Biles or Naomi Osaka.
Okay. I need to question that last point, okay? What do you mean no one is going on a Twitter tirade about Naomi Osaka who pulled out of the French Open and people gave her a negative connotation for pulling out? And for Simone Biles, wait, Nick, time out. Simone Biles as well? You see all the negative shit that's on Twitter? She's been trending for the last 3 freaking days!
Now maybe it's because Simone Biles and the Olympics come once every 4 years. So really some people don't see Simone Biles except for once every 4 years. Now you guys didn't tell me about the Naomi Osaka part, because I have said time and time again that Naomi Osaka hasn't exactly had a fair shot. May I remind you of was it 2017 or 2018 when she was facing Serena and basically everyone. What?
2018 U.S.
2018. And no, but I'm saying and she was facing Serena, and when Serena basically lost to her and had all that meltdown and everything, how many people were mad at Naomi Osaka, who's now becoming the face of tennis above the Williams sisters?
Right. And you know, go ahead.
He thinks that because he didn't see it, it didn't happen. And that is so far from the truth. Because this country, this really speaks to, we really don't like when black women athletes do something that we don't like.
But it has nothing to do with that in this situation. It has to do with she didn't feel in the mental state of mind to compete. And
I could not give my best, so therefore you guys need to do better without me, because I'd be dragging you down.
You're going in that direction. I know this isn't exactly in LeBron territory, but you mentioned the NBA. Mr. NBA, has the term load management maybe come to mind in this scenario?
Maybe, maybe not.
Wait. For Simone Biles you're talking about?
No, they're talking about how, the NBA, you don't really see this in the NBA. But there's load management in the NBA, and that's all that's been going on.
Yeah, so if you're going to give shit to Simone Biles for not competing, you better give shit to every other athlete in every other sport if they're not feeling mentally ready on a day of competing. And you know what? I got to call one more person out, someone who I used to work with who went off on the same rampage as Gottlieb and Charlie Kirk. My former colleague, Sid Rosenberg, who went off on a rampage agreeing with Charlie Kirk. Hey, Sid, how about all the issues you went through with the drug issues and all the other issues you went through? It's public knowledge, Tom. So basically, can we stop? You're calling out someone for not competing with a mental issue. How about looking at yourself? How about we all look at ourselves before we call out someone for making what's the word I'm looking for? A decision to not compete in something due to mental issues.
Those in glass houses should not throw stones, is your point.
That's my point. So guys like Sid, guys like Doug Gottlieb, guys like Charlie Kirk, shut your mouth before you know what's actually going on in someone's head, because you don't know what's going on in someone's head. Plain and simple.
Absolutely not. They don't understand it because they can't just wrap their head around it. So it doesn't matter if I can't understand it. I don't understand it, so therefore it is bad and wrong and evil.
I'm sorry, Tom. I know that was blunt, but I'm just making my point that we all have issues in our head. We all do. And if we all have our demons that we have to take out. We were talking about Richard Sherman a couple of weeks ago, dealing with his demons.
I said he shouldn't be on the field in 2021.
Right. So this is a different situation. But if Simone feels that she can't compete, then you have to listen to her. In all honesty.
All right. We're out of time. So make sure to give us a follow here on Twitch, subscribe. Make sure to follow us across social media at ETB Sports. There's our personal Twitter scrolling across the screen. So until next time, Tom Bantle here with Nick Morgeson and Nick Federa. Good night, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Good night, everybody!
Good night.